the light that I want it to and be able to portray that shape a little bit better. Oops, got my snap feature on. Alright, front, zoom. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this feather before I modify it any further. And I'm going to scale this one a little bit. A bit sharper. Okay. And place this feather. Shift key down to duplicate that one. Copy. Just delete this feather. Move this one into place. Alright. Bring this one down out of the way. Alright, now I'm going to make those the same color. This color. So you can begin to see the makings of a wing there. Then what I'm going to do is just simply pay attention to the shape of my wings as I create them. These are more rounded down here, shorter. And there's a grouping that actually comes out away from the group. And these are still part of the distal feather group. So there's going to be a little bit of a delineation between these and the proximal feather group. So, and you can see how closely they align in their groups. These fan out just a little bit more, but you can see that a little bit better with illustrations or photography rather, but this illustration makes note of that pretty clearly. Alright, so I will pause now and come back when I have more feathers to show you the progress. Now for this feather, I'm going to try something a little bit different. It has a slight twist to it, so I'm going to actually try a twist modifier. I don't know how well that will work given it's already into position, but let's give it a try. I don't want to twist from that angle. Let's try this. There we go. Excellent. And I'm also going to move my gizmo down for added. There we go. Nice twist on that one. Now, again, I want to be clear not to do too much of this in the beginning stages, because almost all of this is typically done in rigging, so that you can get nice twist of the feathers, but in your static pose, everything is pretty straight, so that you can animate these kinds of things, because in fact they do change when they're animated, not when they're in their static poses. So let's go ahead and try another twist. I really like that, how that's happening there. So I believe it was in the Y. There we go. And I want to grab the gizmo and bring it on down. I'm going to go ahead and leave these on the feathers so that when it comes to rigging this, I'll have the availability of those on it already. So, alright. Now I'll have to position these just a little bit better, so as I want them to go into the meat of the wing here a little bit straighter, but you can tell that we're getting closer to the shape that we want. Alright, so if I turn these color, there we go. Alright, so getting some nice definition here. And as we layer these in, it'll become more and more wing-like, so that let's try to avoid these kinds of things where you have interpenetrating surfaces. This surface actually should come out from out in front here, so it folds up properly. So I'm going to go to local, and that gives me what I want. Alright, so let's try this one as well. Space things out just a little bit better. Getting what we need here now. Alright. So it's as simple as that. This is, again, just one method of creating wings. And I'll come back and show you a little bit more as I progress. I should also say, before I get too far into this, that if you are creating your wing in this manner, that it's a lot easier to texture map this if you texture map your initial feather first, and then you go ahead and create the duplicates, because it'll already be mapped for you, and you just have to texture map that one wing, or that one feather. Okay, shortcut. Also, when you do texture map this, you will want to stay opaque with the quill, or fairly opaque, and then as you progress outward, give your alpha channel a nice gradation out to the tip. You'll still want a medium gray out at the tip, but you'll get a nice transparency or translucent feather that way when you're working with geometry that is two-sided like this. So that's one way of achieving a look of a feather without having to put all the geometry in there. Alright, I have my feathers fanned here, but I'm imagining that they need to come out and bend. So I've selected the group of them that I think I want to put that modifier on. They're individual objects. I'm going to select them all and put the bend modifier from the stack on there. And it's not going to bend how I want it, so I'm going to open up bend, go to the sub-object gizmo, and rotate that gizmo into the position that I think it's going to bend it the way that I want it to. So let's see if this does what I want it to do. Now I can come back here and bend them into the position that I want. Yeah, that might be a little too much. I don't want to compromise the integrity of the feather themselves. And actually, I think I'm going to move that down so I get just a little bit more bend on the bottom of those feathers than on the quill part. There we go. That's doing what I want it to do now. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and collapse all. And now I can move those feathers into position like I want them. And let's see if rotating the punch will do that. Let's go ahead and group these so they act like a group. That way when I rotate those, there we go. Alright, so I can get a much better shape on those feathers now. Alright, so I go to my front view, and now it's looking like I have much of my feather in place. I'm going to take the see-through off so you can see a little bit better. And I have my wing constructed fairly well. Let's see what my poly count is. Alright, I'm still within range of a primary character. When I duplicate that, I'll have some really nice looking wings, and I can go ahead and probably use something similar, or paint something that I can get a normal map of these particular feather groups onto my surface here, and that'll play with the light just fine. I don't need to have anything dramatic. It doesn't change the silhouette that much. And so I can do that, and I'll probably come in here and flatten these lower surfaces out just a little bit more and continue to shape that up so that when I do put that normal map on, it'll look like the overlapping feathers. So I think that pretty much concludes it. Now you can see, hopefully in the, let's ungroup these, how I have created this geometry, and I can come in here and delete an occasional polygon in the lower part of the feather to make that this ragged look that condors have in their feathers. Just missing and tattered a little bit, so that you can get more of a wear. Additionally, if I come in here to the other feathers, this is just one edge, one vert. But if I select on the edge, I can come down here in the parameters selection, let's see, edit edges, and once I have the edge selected, I can say split. And what that does, as you can see, it changes the normals on that. It is now a split edge. So when I select on that, there's two verts, and that will also be able to give me the ability to move in here and tatter these wings a little bit. I'm not going to do that until I am satisfied with the placement of these. I'm going to fine-tune those a little bit more, get these into position so there's not so much light leak in here, change the shape a little bit along the bottom so there's not so much depth or breadth here at the base of the wing, and put the normal map on, duplicate that over, and then I can go ahead and tatter the wings so that they're not identical on both sides. Alright, so that is the conclusion of the base tutorial for wing construction. To smooth my polygons here.